Hello, my friend. Have you ever been in a situation where you just had to say no, but found it very difficult? Perhaps you didn't really want to say yes, or perhaps you weren't sure, or maybe you were worried about the other person's feelings or opinions of you. Regardless of your reason, saying no can be really difficult sometimes. So today I wanted to share with you a few tips on how to say no graciously and gracefully. Before we get into the tips though, I want you to think first about the good that can come from saying no. Sometimes simply changing your attitude towards the action can be very helpful in easing into it. If you think about your life as a garden, if you have every type of plant in your garden, how in the world are you going to have time to care for each plant with the care that it deserves? Tip number 1 is to decide. So if you decide first beforehand that you have certain parameters or rules that you abide by, it makes saying no a bit easier. An example here would be that you only go out 2 nights a week. Otherwise you feel too tired. So if you've already committed to 2 nights a week, you can simply tell the other person, I'm sorry, I can't go out this week, maybe next week. So committing to having a rule beforehand can be very helpful. Decide beforehand what you want your time and your life to look like, and then it makes saying no to the things that don't fit into that a little easier. Tip number 2, defer. This comes from the fact that often your decisions affect other people. It is perfectly okay to defer to other people who will be affected. For example, you can say, I really respect you the way that I respect my spouse, and I think that I need to speak with him before I make this decision because it's going to affect both of us. I have a friend who does this anytime a decision involves more than $100. She and her husband have made the decision that if the decision involves more than $100, they will talk to each other about it first, just to make sure that they are both on board. Tip number 3, deal. This is a counter offer. Sometimes you could offer something other than what is being asked. For example, you could say, well, I can't do that right now, but I think Susan could. I'll be happy to introduce you. Or you could offer a resource. I don't really know much about that, but here's a great book or website, or here's an organization that might be able to help you. Or if you could do something and want to, you can always counteroffer a deal such as, well, I can't do that, but here's what I can do. All of these are great ways to feel good about offering something, but still being mindful of your own time and energy. And the last tip is to deflect. If the person just won't let up and you can't use the other tactics, deflecting with appreciation is a very gracious way to say no and remove yourself from the situation. This might look like, I so appreciate what you are doing for the world and the cause that you are fighting for. I can't be a part of it right now. Thanks so much for asking. Showing appreciation is very helpful in deflecting because it still makes you and the other person feel good. Important things to remember with any of these tactics are to be calm, clear, and firm. If you are clear in your messaging, that also makes it a bit easier to say no and for the other person to hear it in the best way possible. If you are unclear or a little wishy-washy, that can make it even more difficult because it might come across as a maybe or a need for more information when you really don't mean that. Number 1, of course, my friends, is to practice honesty in saying no. Both being honest to yourself and being honest to the other person. You don't need to tell the entire story or explain yourself with all of your reasons. But being honest about not being available or just not being able to do something that's requested of you is perhaps the most powerful thing that you can do. It can be easy to say yes. It takes character and strength to say no. But I know that you can do it, and I hope these tips have helped you today. Until next time, my friends, be well.